The development of strategy is very, very important. That's why I decided to slow down for today and to talk about these things. And from my point of view, it's working. But in the development of strategy, which that triangle speaks to the whole formulation of strategy, what are the managers and leaders of a company looking at when they consider strategy? Besides their core competencies, right? What they do well. And besides looking at, well, who are my competitors? You look at those two things. What do I do good? What are my weaknesses? And what's the competition? But there's other considerations, those they call the key external factors that affect strategy. And those include, well, what are the economic conditions? Right now, for example, we're in the COVID climate. And what does that mean right now? Well, right now, interest rates are very high, meaning that if you're a company and you need financing to buy capital equipment, you're going to be really constrained, because in order to get the money, unless you already have a whole bank full of money, you're going to have to borrow, and the money you're going to get, presumably from a bank or other finance institution, is going to come at a premium interest rate. And when that gets into the valuation of your operations management, because now in order to build our microphones, every component product now costs more. Why? Because of inflation. Everything costs more. In order to buy things, everything costs more. And so the economic conditions, the political conditions, I always fear, well, the political conditions absolutely is the Russians and the rest of the world. I didn't know this. I don't know if you guys knew it. I did not know how dependent the whole world was on Russian wheat, because they say that the Ukraine is a world-class producer of wheat, meaning significant part of the whole world gets its wheat, or did, from the Ukraine. And because Russia is fighting with the Ukraine and now has stopped the Ukraine from delivering wheat to its normal customers, then people are suffering because of the political condition, the political conflict between Russia and Ukraine. So this affects the strategy. How so? Well, if I need wheat to feed animals or even to feed people, and I can't get it from the Ukraine, I got to get it from somewhere else. An example of that is Africa. It used to get its wheat from the Ukraine, or at least a significant part of it. Now it's got to get its wheat from other areas. And in fact, the people of Africa, as I roughly understand it, are suffering because they can't get the level of wheat from the sources, or from the Russian sources, that they used to get it. So that affects their ability to do business in Africa, as well as other countries, you see. Legal environment. This gets complicated, but well, there too, even in the conflict between Russia and the Ukraine, notice in terms of doing business, it's not a good idea if you're a business person in the US trying to do business overseas, if you're trying to do business in Russia, right? Because the United States, if you're located in the United States, it's not going to let you do business with Russia. So if that was your big idea, you were going to sell something to Russia because you knew that they really liked whatever it is what you were going to sell, but your whole business plan, your strategy just got killed. Why? For legal reason, because you can't sell anything to Russia because of the political and legal restrictions that are imposed. Technology, if you don't have 5G, you don't have broadband, you don't have computer systems, let's say you're in Africa or someplace like that, then you may not have the equipment you need to effectively engage in certain kinds of technology-oriented businesses. External factors. What if everybody else is stronger than you? Their capabilities are much beyond yours, then you won't be able to do anything. For example, I even take it to a small business owner like myself. I'm trying to, and it's kind of a funny situation, because what is my business? To deliver professional and career development education to people like you, people who want to advance their careers or who need to have certain skills. I don't have to teach everything. I could hire instructors who have knowledge, like in Python. I just have to find a real good Python instructor to go teach Python, you see, and it's through my business. And so, but the idea that I want to make in what affects strategy, because I have a strategy that I need to develop as a small business owner, I want to compete in this area of delivering, basically, you could call it education. But you can laugh in a way because, well, professor, doesn't everyone deliver education? How many universities are out there? How many companies like Assembly and I forget who else, all these Coursera, edX, etc., Udemy and all them, aren't they delivering education? And so why should people go to you as an education provider? That I'm trying to show you an example of competition. I better have a really good strategy because the level of competition is enormous. Because there's many competitors. Why would I dare to venture? Because I think I have a differentiating strategy. One, because I've been a professor for many, many years. And in my knowledge of the educational or professional training environment, I see certain gaps or certain opportunities. That's what you have to have. Even if there's a high level of competition, you can develop a strategy, maybe even one that's effective, where you found a gap in all the competition that exists, and you figured out, oh, in this one little space, I could compete. And so if you provide the service, in my case, in that space, you can compete. I'll come back to the same market. Well, I'll take the market that my friend and I are working on. She wants to deliver skincare products. And it's kind of funny that too, there's an enormous amount of competition, but in the same way, because she has special skills as a salesperson, I have skills in contract management and in business management in general. We feel that this market of skincare products, which is a very healthy business area, and even though there's a lot of people doing it, we feel that we can offer high premium products, high profit margin in this highly competitive area. And not everybody can deliver high profit products because they don't know how to sell high profit products. Who's going to buy your product for $100 a bottle, a little bottle of women's face cream or whatever, if you don't know how to sell to women who are willing to pay $100 for a 1 ounce bottle? My friend, she came from a high-end fashion market where she was a salesperson and was part of sales team selling high-end products. That's why we think, because most of the people in the market as it exists for these skincare products sell them either at a low profit margin, more like the Samsung, but we want to be like the Apple, but you have to know how to sell like an Apple. And we believe we have remember what we go back to, this is why it's fascinating in my way of looking at it, because what do you have to have? What's your core competency? Our core competence is that my friend is an expert salesperson, the one who talks people into buying such products for $100. And I know contracts, and she and I both know business management to a pretty good degree, which is why we think our strategy can work even in a crowded market, you see. And it's a long conversation, but I think it's necessary for you to see all the detail to understand, well, how does this really, because otherwise it's just words. Key external factors that include economic conditions, politics, legal, technology, competition, and markets. Those are just words, but you have to see and hear the stories and see how